South Korea has announced plans to build a new naval base near its border with North Korea. The base will include barracks and a training ground to accommodate around 100 troops. Well, the base will be located on one of 5 South Korean islands established by the UN in the 1950s, but Pyongyang refuses to accept Seoul's ownership of the island. The border's been the scene of several clashes between the neighbors. The most recent attack happened in 2010 when the North shelled one of the Yellow Sea islands, killing 4 South Koreans. For more on this development, we're now joined by James Corbett, editor of news and information site, the Corbett Report, with us on the line live from Japan. James, the border region where the base will be is located is disputed by North Korea, as we just reported. What kind of reaction can we expect from Pyongyang?
Well, the important thing to remember about this is that it's, in fact, the second provocation in less than 1 week from South Korea against North Korea. In fact, just on Monday, Pyongyang was protesting the use of the North Korean flag as a target during some joint military exercises that were being conducted very close to the North Korean border, some U.S. South Korean military exercises. They were actually using a North Korean flag as one of the targets in their exercise for the first time, and it was seen to be a provocation. So on Monday, Pyongyang was registering their complaint about that, and then comes this announcement. So this has to be seen as something of an escalation that may indicate an increase in border tensions and perhaps even military tensions between the two entities. And the question is, why now? What's really changing? What dynamic is changing between the two countries? And it has to be understood that there is something of a quiet revolution happening in North Korea in terms of its relations with China. Since Kim Jong-un took over, and the Rason area in the eastern part of the China-North Korea border, closer to the Russian border, they have a special economic zone called Rason, where China has invested over $2 billion worth of infrastructure in the last year alone to build roads and other things that may be part of an infrastructure whereby China will be able to start investing more and more in North Korea. And South Korea may see that as a type of threat against their one leverage over North Korea, which is their food aid and their monetary aid to the north. And if China is investing more and more in North Korea, that kind of gives them more of an advantage in that respect. So we might see some mounting military tension to try to regain South Korea's predominance over North Korea.
Well, South Korea's defense ministry says it's aiming to bolster its forces in the area, so that's not a secret. I mean, could we expect North Korea to do the same, a boost in the number of their troops?
That's certainly a possibility. I think we have to be skeptical about the really what kind of forces North Korea has to muster and whether it would be an adequate response to the threat of a South Korean invasion, of course, undergirded by the U.S. military umbrella that they lie under. But certainly I think Pyongyang will have to react in some way, at least to save face. So we could definitely see some sort of boost in troops along the border, or at least some sort of formal protest over the plan.
And this border along the Yellow Sea, of course, the scene of previous deadly naval clashes between the two countries. What are the chances that we could see similar violence after this announcement?
Well, certainly there has been violence there in the past, as you indicate, and it is an area where both sides have shown willingness to aggress in the past. So it certainly could and probably would be the point of the flashpoint where a conflict would occur if there was to be a military conflict. I'm not sure if we're exactly at that point yet, but certainly if this is part of a rising crescendo in military aggressive postures, it could end up there, and certainly we have to at least be wary that that's a possibility in this climate.
North Korea has reportedly completed a base for troop-carrying hovercraft about 50 kilometers north of the island. Do you think Seoul's announcement is maybe a response to that?
It could be seen that way, but I think we have to be very skeptical about those reports. That's referencing some reports about Kwanpo, where apparently North Korea has built a hovercraft base capable of storing up to 70 hovercraft. But that report sources back to some reconnaissance photos and, in fact, an anonymous official leaking to the media, an anonymous South Korean official, And as far as I know, there's been no actual confirmation that there really are hovercraft there. Perhaps there are, but whether 70 hovercraft would pose anything of a military threat to South Korea, I think, is a bit laughable. So I don't think it can really be seen as a justification for any type of military increase in tension. And at any rate, we have to be, as I say, very skeptical about North Korea's ability to put up much of a military fight at all, given that they like to parade nuclear missiles that turn out to be paper mache cutouts, as confirmed by photos of their parades and things of that sort. So anything regarding North Korea's military capabilities, especially when coming from anonymous officials in the South Korean government, has to be taken with a hefty grain of salt.
Right. James Corbett, editor of news and information site The Corbett Report, live with us via broadband from Japan.